This conference will now be recorded.
Very, we will call the meeting to order. Everybody stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Lord is together this day, and what business for the people of the village of Owego. Grant us wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Amen. Very good. First item, as usual, public comment. Any public comment today?
Peter Gordon, citizen. I would like to give a shout out to Dave Thompson and the crew who've been mowing up in the cemetery. They've been just working their butts off and doing a wonderful job. And I just wanted to give a note of appreciation for their hard work.
Yeah, they do a great job up there. Yeah, it looks great. I was up there this afternoon. It's awesome. That's a lot of hard mowing, weed whacking mostly.
Yeah.
All right, any other public comment? Anything online? All right, move on.
Someone reached out to me online and I was just wondering if that was
Maybe it's, I don't know who JC is. Oh, they don't share. Thank you.
Well, it doesn't look like their, it looks like their sound's on. Yeah. Well, we can't hear them if they're wanting to speak.
Right. Yeah, they can type in the box, but nobody's chatting either, so I don't know. Invited guests, we don't have anybody tonight. No one. So we'll move into department heads, I suppose. Start with EMS.
Thanks. I'll get up to you guys when Charles is like, you want to talk to him? Sorry. So operation wise, we've had 121 calls for the month of August. 20 we gave mutual aid. So far for this month, we've had 60 calls for September. 17 have been mutual aid. Fran has 4 new member applications for you guys to approve tonight. One is Jay Coons. He's currently starting the EMT class along with Betty Romack, who's starting the EMT class, and William Talada and Scott Gurney are both paramedics that run with neighboring agencies that want to come and join us as well. Robin had the opportunity to run with Jake this weekend, so I'll let her.
Jake is going to be an excellent fit. He is very bubbly, receptive of everything. He handled 2 really bizarre, off-the-wall, stressful cases with me this weekend and just rode with it really well. He was a real asset, even though he's never touched anything in the back of the rig. He really did well.
So I don't know what other information you want from their applications. Jake and Betty both live on Glen Mary. Talada lives on Talcott Street, and Gurney lives on
Beach Street.
Yes, Beach Street, right by the village line.
KUNZE.
Okay. Talada, Talada.
Doesn't Betty, Jake's first.
Yeah.
We want to vote on them now?
Yeah, you'll have to do them one at a time.
Yeah, I just want to go. He just wants to write his names down in the book.
Yeah, Jake is a good person. I work with him with United Way.
Yes.
And the fair.
Yeah. Well, why don't we, vote on them now? Nominate William Talada as, member for the EMS squad. Second.
Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Rusty, yes.
Yes.
Dave, yes. And yes.
And we'll nominate, Zach, Bancy to the emergency squad.
Which one do you?
No, Jake, it's Jake.
Jake.
Jake
Jake.
Coons. I know, second me.
I'll second Jake.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's not Jake.
Yeah.
Rusty? Yes. Still there?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Brad?
Yes.
Yeah, take one.
Okay, and I'll nominate, Scott Kearney for the MS squad.
I second.
Discussion with Scott. Brad?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Rusty? Yes.
Yes.
Dave? Yes. And yes.
And also as a new member of the squad, Betty Roman.
I second.
Any discussion? Brad?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Charles? Yes. Rusty? Yes. Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Yes. Okay.
Excellent, thank you. The last month, we have had one member resign, Kevin Haynes. He's been an EMT, but he just, things in his life changed, and he needed some time away, so he wanted to take a resignation. As far as the vehicles go, 2031's 27,000 miles. No issues, 2032 with 140, I think, ish thousand miles. I couldn't check because it's out of the dealer at the moment, getting the vacuum pump replaced under warranty, and then once that's done, they do the ERG valve check. So maybe later this week we may hear something as to what the story is with that. 2033, 156,000 miles. We're currently having issues with the power load stretcher, so the service request is being placed, so they can take a look at that. And 2051 for 48,000. Body repair has been complete, and we're working on scheduling repairs for the upfitter and piston for graphics and the auto reject. And then the only other thing we need to talk about is email bed and that kind of stuff. So I don't know if you want to talk about that now or old business or when you want to.
We can talk about that. Another one.
Quick question, Mike.
Yes.
Is 33 in service that's having trouble
Yes.
with the power load stretcher? Just
Yeah, it's in service. So basically, as Robin likes to put it, when it's out there, you're supposed to push the button and the feet come up. Well, you need to give it a little kick.
A little
And the
up.
feet will come up. A little boost. Moral support.
Oh, once you start lifting the bottom, then it
No,
catches
so
and
it
it
just
goes.
needs to get started.
Some of us have some of us work.
So with our presentation last month, we talked about the other ambulance we're interested in putting a bid on. Nathan didn't have any luck reaching out to their lawyer to see if we could, hit it direct, I guess we'll say, so we kind of went through the bid process with it. With that being said, the price of the ambulance we found and others similar to it have double or triple the miles, and they're still asking like $50,000 for those. And this one's only got 50,000 miles versus 100 plus. The other piece is the auto load stretcher. If we were to buy an ambulance without one, that's another $63,000. So between the two of them, we could have talked about where we're comfortable, placing our bid. I mean, monetarily, we've got enough money in the budget to cover whatever we want to place, and it's not going to affect our operation and that kind of stuff because we already have the money reserved for the refurbishment of 32 and 33, so that's already taken care of, so that's allocated. But I'm just trying to come up with what you guys think would be an appropriate number to offer them. I'm going 70, 80, maybe up to 100 or just a smidge over. Because, to Rusty's point when we were talking about it last month, if we get a loaner, which I don't have much faith in them, we're gonna have lots of problems and we're gonna be putting $10,000, $20,000 into somebody else's ambulance. Where if we buy it, we maintain it, we know what it is, and we can just, put it first line basically, and then we'll roll it into the remod schedule with the others, and we'll get more than our fair share of money out of it. Also, I was running the numbers as far as, how much we wanted to, put the bid in for, and it would be anywhere from 200 to maybe 300 calls it would have to run before it would recoup all the money that we paid for it. So anything after that would be free money. So there's no losing battle with this. It's just, how far do we want to go with putting an offer in and kind of go from there.
Well, if it's a sealed bid, then we kind of can put it around, we can't like bid back and forth.
Correct. We have to figure out what we're comfortable with on the high end and submit it, and because there's a lot of benefit to it. I mean, even if we get it, we run it, this still saves us on the next refurbishment, another 100-ish just for the box itself. Because when they got it, it was brand new. So there's a lot of benefits to us going on the higher side to make sure that we can secure it and win the bid versus not.
So I was asking money questions.
No, that's quite all right.
Yeah, so remind me again, I read this stuff down last month.
Okay.
So what are we gonna be paying for the two chassis?
The two refurbishments is, I think it's like 330 total for the both of them.
Okay, and when we had some things that we were needing, as we kind of casually mentioned, I can't remember what they were, yeah, but Paul had brought up a couple of things, that might be 50, 60 grand a piece, I don't remember what the things were.
The two we're doing refurbishments on?
No, he was just talking about, what, was it a lift? I don't remember what it was.
So the stretcher,
The stretcher and the lift, he was talking, we need.
that's 63,000 brand new.
Yeah.
If we find another ambulance that fits our needs, and we want to put that in it, it's going to be 63,000 right off the bat.
Is that for each thing or for both things?
For both of them, it's like 33 a piece or something like that. For the stretcher, the power stretcher, and the power lift.
Okay.
And in the grand scheme of things, from my perspective, one back claim, we're going to save more than that, right? So by spending that, it's a no-brainer in my opinion, because if somebody got hurt picking up their back or whatever, we're going to spend more than that. So that's just a no-brainer to make sure we have one.
The last piece I wanted to know, how much money do we have? Randy, do you know?
Yeah.
You know?
You got it with the,
What are the balance?
Yeah, 570.
That's what we got, and
That's
our.
That's in the plan.
585, 298.
All right, 585 it is.
585 we got, and
And then you take 330-ish off of that.
sure, yeah, that's right, I'm just trying to figure out where we are on money.
Yep, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all good.
That leaves you like 255.
Yeah, it leaves us 255 in the budget.
Well, that's
This is-
that's the bank.
In the bank.
That's the money, this isn't our operating budget, and it isn't our, I assume our, LoSAP budget, this is money in the bank.
It's in the bank.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah, it's based on the
bringing in around 40,000 every month.
Right.
So I mean,
Well, yeah, but we're not bringing in
And
40, are we bringing in
we're spending
40,000
30.
clear? No, we're bringing in 40,000 total to pay for all the bills.
Right.
yeah, well, we're
That's what we're
spending,
talking.
this last month, we spent 30,000, so
Yeah.
there's another 11,000.
Yep.
We're gonna figure every month.
On top of that, you'll have to get the body work done on it. Which is there.
Yeah, there's scratches. We gotta do lettering regardless of what we do.
Right.
There's a couple lights we gotta replace, that kind of stuff, and put a radio in it, which we have. So there isn't a whole lot of work. I mean, obviously, we wanna take it over to Fred and have them go through it. We are the successful winners. But, I mean, overall, I can't find any negative aspects to it.
Is there any other equipment that you foresee having issues with down the road, or equipment that you're gonna be needing to buy?
There is stuff, but I know they're looking at grants and that kind of stuff, so we don't have to dig into the till for it. Yes, the monitors, those are aging out, but I don't remember when they're exactly expiring, but
That's what
yeah,
Paul talked about.
and they wanna get,
Paul was talking about the monitors.
the monitors, yeah, they're aging out, but we can get grants and that kind of stuff to help with that. So,
Just like the getting, 11,000 towards, that mannequin.
Yeah, we're getting 11,000 from a grant for the mannequin. We've got another almost 5,000 grant, or not grant, donation from the,
For other equipment.
yeah,
Hey, did we put
so
those
video laryngoscopes.
Yeah, they're all.
They are?
Well,
Well,
yes,
yeah, we're sorting out the details, but they're all.
they're ordered.
Make sure a letter of thanks goes in there, Jerry.
Yes, it will. We've already had that discussion.
Okay.
So, yes, what's your main question?
Oh, no, I'll ask Mike something. So we talked about this last month about whether or not this is, something eventually might have to be done in regular session. Is this something that we want that the other guys to know what we're doing?
Yeah, we've explored it with Nate, and so there's like three different options. One of them is we can just make a motion to do whatever. Chances are they're not.
Chances are they're not paying attention to us, but
But you never know, I mean,
what's our other options on confidentiality?
So we could tell the department head that we were comfortable with whatever he felt, and then he could put a bid in. And then if we win the bid, we would have to approve the bid. Basically.
yeah, but
That's
then,
something we could do, but that would be reneging on the bid.
yeah,
That's
that's,
not the way I'd like to play.
no, I agree.
But it's an option, it's something that could be done.
I mean, cause you could also say, you know, we give you permission to spend up to XYZ dollars to put a bid in on this vehicle. Talk offline is exactly what the number is, because for me, it's important for you guys to know exactly what number we're gonna put on the paper and be willing to pay.
Well,
Mike knows it.
what's the third option?
How much-
They would have to tell us our number. Nate, what was the other option to do that?
So the three I put out were that Mike puts a bid in as the department head and makes it contingent on village board approval. The second was the village board approves a number for the purchase and authorizes it at a board meeting. The third was Mike puts a document together that has a number for the purchase price in it. Board authorizes the purchase proposal prepared by him. So it was similar to one of the other prior options.
So it's similar to two, except we're not stating what we're gonna put the offer in, we're just stating the max of what we could put it in. And then we
Right.
talk about the number.
About how much it costs to do the lettering and all that body work? I don't know, 5,000?
Oh, on the high end.
Yeah.
Very high end, yeah. Because the lettering, all we really need to do is pull their name off the side on the three sides and put our name on it. And change the numbers, so it's not gonna be terrible.
Okay, well, I would, propose that, we, give the EMS department, the approval to spend a maximum of 100,000 for this ambulance.
My only question is if the lift and the stretcher costs approximately 63,000, and then you have a fairly newer vehicle, might it go for a little bit more than that? I wouldn't wanna hamstring them that close to it.
They got that through a grant like we did, so they did not pay for that as well.
No, but if we got another ambulance, we didn't win this one, we got a second, you know, another ambulance, we had to buy one to put it in.
They didn't have to, but they already had it.
Correct,
Yeah,
yeah.
but if we needed-
She's thinking if we have to get it from somewhere else, we have to get a different one or something, yeah.
Point of order, point of order, two things. She did make she said a proposal, I don't know.
She
if
did make
that
one.
was a
Nobody
proposal.
seconded it, so.
No, nobody did second it.
No.
So either somebody needs to second that, or we need to withdraw that for a moment and go on and have the further discussion, that's all. So,
All right, well, I'll withdraw that. for the
we
moment.
can bring it right back in a minute. So I'm gonna state the obvious again and just smack me for stating the obvious. We have to, so we're doing a couple, two, three things here. We're deciding, are we interested, do we need this ambulance to some degree? That's, we kind of decide that we want it. Then the next thing is, how much money are we willing to spend to get this ambulance? So, let's, and we're gonna make motions on this, because we're not gonna let this stuff just be, oh, we just said, we're gonna make motions on everything from now on. But anyway, so gang, good idea, wanna get this ambulance? It's not a vote motion, this is this.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
I was thinking around 1:30. What's the time for recouping that money? How many calls do you have to make?
So if we, hold on, let me get my phone and do the math.
But you understand something,
That's not a motion.
no, but you understand something. That money that we're gonna get by taking calls is taking that money out of, we would have got with other ambulances calls. And I mean, if we had no ambulance, and that was the only one we had, then that money would be that. But if it's an add-on ambulance, then we're taking money from ourselves, and that's
So-
our thinking.
So on that price that you were asking, on the average that we collect per call, it would be about 325 calls it would pay for itself. And we run 1,500 calls a year.
Total for all the ambulances.
Yes, for all the
What's your
ambulances.
average call for one ambulance per year?
Divide that by 3.
All right, now you have 3 of them, right?
Yeah, but the way we do it is one ambulance is typically, I call it the prime ambulance.
Right.
It takes the majority of the beating. And so that's what this would do is if we were successful, this would be our prime ambulance while the other two were out getting refurbished. So like 2031 would be our second view. And then, the other ones would be the reserves.
Roughly 300 calls.
So roughly 300 calls would pay for that amount worth of the ambulance. Yeah.
Or if you look at it another way, our average expenses we're bringing in on average 40 grand a month. We're spending 25 to 30 grand, we're making 10 grand.
And
A year.
yeah, and in theory, with the other two refurbishments, we're gonna need this for the year at least while they're out refurbishing. So right there, it paid for itself. You know what I mean?
No, I'm waiting for Dave.
But
Pretty much got yourself. So the logic there is it's good logic. If we, are down on ambulances and we can't make calls because we don't have enough ambulances running, then we're losing the money. Obviously, if we have 3 other ambulances that are running, then we wouldn't be making more money right now, but we will be when we send them in chassis, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
So it's a factor of
So,
whether we're down on ambulances for that.
Is there money coming in and our
Yeah.
service?
so I'll tell you a story for a moment. The other night we had a motor vehicle accident on the highway. We had 3 patients. We only had 2 ambulances. We had 9 members show up. So we were able to staff, if we had 3 ambulances, we could have staffed 3 people per ambulance and treated each patient a separate ambulance. But we only had 2 ambulances, so we could only, in theory, take care of 2 people. We lucked that one of them signed off, but just something else. I mean, we've got the membership willing to do it. I mean, we talked about the fair, that we staffed the whole thing by ourselves, which I think is absolutely fabulous. It's the first time in history that I know of, but my history isn't very long. So, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But I think it's,
So I'm finishing up what I was saying. I was just trying to get a feel on the board, the seven at a time. Good idea, get this ambulance, and Dave took it to numbers, but that was gonna be the next piece. Yeah, we'd like to get this ambulance, and the next piece is, what's the numbers, it's logical, we want to get it for 250 grand, we can't get it for, where's our number, that's the next spot. If we're moving along on the other spot.
Like if we bought a brand new ambulance, that would be what, about $500,000, right? For brand new.
at least 300 on the low end. I mean, on the basic side. Because a van is like 200 plus the stretcher is another 63. And we try and stay away from those because we have more people on the crew, so you need,
Well, that's for like a van, like you see, like Superior's driving.
Yes. Yeah, and a lot of people don't like them. There's some people that like them, but we've kind of standardized with what we have in the Hortons, and it's worked well, and it makes it easier for everybody's muscle memory.
An ambulance like that's comparable to the ones we're talking about is closer to the $500,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so for us to be able to get this at a reasonable price, it's a big deal for us.
So we're at sealed bid again.
Mike?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, no problem, could you suggest a range for us?
I think Dave's in the right ballpark. I mean, I like to go, not round numbers, go off a little bit. Me being the smarty pants, I had this idea that if we got it, its number would be 2034. So whatever number you pick, we add 2034 to it.
I like doing that in an auction too.
Huh?
I like doing that in an auction.
Yeah.
Don't say 100,000, you say 103,096.
Yes. And so that was my joke of the day to myself, was whatever number we choose, I just asked we add 2034 to the end of that. And
So the same old trick with an auction. You want to get it as cheap as you can, especially a sealed bid auction. But if you want to get it bad enough, you got to go high enough to, not so high that, oh man, we got to have it no matter what, but you got to go high enough to get it. And so that's always that.
it's a delicate balance, absolutely. And I've been toying with it since we had our last meeting, is what's the right price?
Now, there's a good chance what we're gonna do, I don't know this yet, but with Fran's thought and stuff, there's a good chance we're gonna pick a number that's as high as we're willing to go, and whatever we said before, that we're gonna have you and the mayor or whatever talk about it and figure out what that exact final number is gonna be, but that will be the maximum. That's what we're kind of sniffing at, isn't it? And so now the next deal is, what's that next one?
There you go. Buy it, buy
Can't we
in
just
the bank.
do it like this and pass it around and vote on it like that? Show the family. I like that. I mean, I don't know.
What
Our own sealed bid.
Yeah, we're,
Yeah.
You want me to walk around with it?
Go right around. I mean, cause you don't want it on there quite the same, but we know, as long as we know, and we all read numbers, right? It's good.
Good with that number.
Yeah.
you guys think that's,
Good job, Vanna.
well, if we didn't go high enough, then we don't get it?
We've got to draw a line somewhere,
That's
right?
correct, yes.
And it's a delicate balance. Obviously, if we get it, we're gonna make the money back on it. We know within the year just of using it as the first time without a question. So
If there are numbers that get high enough that one starts to say, we've got other options, we need to sniff a little bit.
I don't think we can.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know that number anyway.
Oh, I forget what you told us.
the what? Oh, the mileage. Yeah, it's only
48?
Yeah, it was when we went to see it, so it's probably gonna take.
148 now.
So how are we
So
gonna?
now, what do you wanna do, gang?
So, motion
Yeah.
to approve up to the, but I would, don't say the number. just
Up to this number,
Presented number.
which we have all seen.
I don't know if we can.
Well,
Well,
we'll put it in the minutes.
Sealed bid is
Yeah,
tough,
that's fine with me.
but a motion to approve the ambulance up to this number through the sealed bid process.
I second that.
We're gonna have to put the number in the minutes. but-
Yeah,
Here it is.
and, Mike and Nathan, I sent them the sealed bid email that we got as far as who we need to send it to and all that kind of stuff, so. He's got all that, because we've got to have it postmarked by the 25th.
Well, that was one of the options, is the presented number.
I would like to see that jumped up $3 more. You know what I mean?
For when somebody, we're gonna change that, when's it gonna be, the 25th? We're gonna change that to the night of the 24th, when somebody else gets our number, then we had it for the other one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the important part of an auction, though. You have your limit,
Right.
and you know what your limit is, so
Yeah,
you go, and that's good, because otherwise people do maybe not such smart things at the end.
That's why I'd rather you guys pick the number, and whatever you pick the number is what we'll run with. I mean,
Cause we were, I don't know what we were thinking, but we were thinking last time, oh, what is this gonna be, 60, 50, 60, 70, 80 grand? I'm just saying, that's what we were, I don't know, we were kind of dreaming that it would be something like that, but. ain't that.
That's if you get it from Gary.
Yes, that's what I was thinking, I'm like,
Okay, so we have that motion, we have a second?
Charles
Yeah.
seconded.
Okay, Jerry, any other discussion? Okay, we vote on it. Rusty?
Yes.
Yes.
Dave? Yeah. Fran?
yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes.
All right,
There you go.
thank you. Any other questions before I? All right. If nothing else, I'll say thank you guys for all your support. And,
Thank everybody in the EMS department. All right, who else? Brett? Oh, yeah, Fran wanted to say something.
Ask Mayor if I could speak for a few minutes before Greg gives his report.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I wanna, review the situation with the cemetery. It was back in, 2017, or no, 2016, excuse me. There was another person in the village who thought they had control of the cemetery. And myself and my good friend Marie Ward and Melody Patterson went and listened to this lady talk, along with several members of the current village board at that time. And the way it ended up, the village board decided to create a cemetery committee at that time. And they had that $250,000 grant from New York State. They decided to send back, which was one of the things that spurred me to run for the village board to start with, because I always had a passion for the cemetery, and to think that they would just throw that money away. Anyway, so I mean, the cemetery committee has been working on projects for a long time. In 2019, we had a landscape, cultural landscape survey done. We spent $10,000, and the lady gave us a nice report, suggestions of things that we needed to do. And there was about 6 months later, when the cemetery committee was having a hard time getting things done, half the cemetery committee quit. And they formed another group called the Friends of Owego Evergreen. The main reason for that is that they could raise money to do projects in the cemetery. And so there has been a lot of grants procured for the cemetery, mostly through our Owego resident here, Peter Gordon, who's a member of the Friends of Evergreen. And so I put a sheet of paper out for everybody. There's two-sided. It's June 20th, or June 14th, 2000. This is a summary of 2020, excuse me. Summary of the review of that report from Martha Lyons, and also where the cemetery committee asked the village board to take a look at the cemetery, things that need to be done. And the mayor and one other board member actually went and looked at it. And I mean, many of the things in there, I mean, it includes right in there, building a parking lot up at the side. This is not a new idea, building a parking lot. On the back side of that is a proposed plan cemetery committee, which was written in 2021. I mean, and right now, once again, is to build the parking lot at the summit. And over the years, we've talked about it many a time. Fortunately, last year, we were able to receive a $25,000 grant to do the parking lot next to the mortuary chapel. And once we got that grant, once the friends said, Owego Evergreen got the grant, it was left up to Fred to take care of getting that done. He came up with the design and worked with the contractor and got it done. We did not review their plan beforehand, they just did it. Now this year, we are very fortunate to receive a grant to work on the parking area up at the summit. And actually, as it turns out, probably none of that money is even going to be spent because Lofty gave us $3,000 worth of stone for free. All the labor has been done by the DPW and Les Wagner, and he brought in 4 pieces of heavy equipment, which we would have had to either rent or pay somebody to come up there and use. So that's all for free. Les Wagner also donated the permeable cloth that goes underneath the cell. The millings are from right here in the village. So that's where that stands. And I would like my friend Peter Gordon to carry on.
Thank you. I'm going to try and talk at a New York rate of speed, despite my Indiana heritage. A bit of this is redundant with what Fran has said, but it's faster for me to just go through what I had written. And I gave Rod a copy, so it can go in a minute. But first, I wish to apologize to Rusty because before this last board meeting, I would walk to your store and was bragging about getting a grant. And you told me that, well, we didn't have permission. And I thought we did, but I agreed, so I'll come to the board and ask for permission. But, I'm just going to read this because it'll be faster. I had told him at the time I would make a formal proposal to the board tonight, 9/16/24. After we agreed the 9/2 agenda was full. He had told me that we had not secured formal approval for the creation of a parking lot. I had thought and think we had approval, but I had prepared to make another presentation to the board to alleviate my concerns. I had presented development plans for the summit area on multiple occasions over the years and have given Fran my notes from 5 different board presentations and tours. We, the Friends, have worked intimately with the Evergreen Cemetery Committee, the Cemetery Commissioner on all, and the Cemetery Commissioner on all our suggested Evergreen projects. I've also given Fran a list of some of the highlighted completed Evergreen projects. It should be noted that while the work was going on at the summit, 3 Friends members were mapping and checking headstones in section 3 as part of a long-term effort to correct the village records and establish a realistic record of actual burial locations in Evergreen. Before we discuss the specifics of the lot project, I wanted to clear up a couple of misconceptions about which I was asked. I'm unaware of any water wells on the Evergreen property. I believe there was an image taken. Cemetery Committee had John Rickless displayed on the Cemetery Committee Facebook page that may have appeared to be a well cap but was actually a tree stump that was covered in dust, so it seemed looked like a concrete. Um, we also were digging, but we protected it. Um, the Another question was brought up about the engineering and design. The Friends do not presume to have engineering, construction, or code expertise for conceptually proposed projects. We make proposals and secure funding. I have drawn and delivered to the board, the cemetery committee, and the village DPW sketches for the chapel parking lot and for the summit Sasana lot. I had submitted such sketches to the board and the DPW on multiple occasions. In the case of the new entry guardrails, we provided $10,000, which Fred used for the new rails without consulting the Friends or the board on materials, the contractors, timing, etc. In the case of the chapel lot, I had solicited bids of $55,000 from 3 contractors and secured a $25,000 grant from Mildred Hoffman Truman. Fred, as is his purview, selected a completely different contractor and completed the project in a superior fashion for this reduced amount. I had suggested Jersey barriers to hold up the big hill, and Fred got giant concrete blocks to hold up the big hill. In the case of the details of the summit plot, the plan and the sketches I delivered to the board and DPW, and for which I secured funding from the Les Wagner Foundation, were rejected by Fred Ulrich with his 35 years of construction experience, and in conversation with Les Wagner with his 40 years of lumber and terraforming experience. Additionally, we solicited opinions from multiple summit visitors. My proposal, that I think some of you have pictures, I saw it here. My proposal had been for a 20 by 70 rectangular lot extending east into the woods from the summit road with a 20-foot entrance over a culvert pipe. The women surveyed visitors, because a lot of people come up there and we're working, and we asked them. They all said that they would be uncomfortable driving back into the woods. It was suggested that my friend's proposed lot was not connected to the existing drainage, Fred said that, and would create a pond in wet weather. Les suggested turning, entering, exiting would form bottlenecks. So the new plan proposed with head-in parking along Summit Road required fewer trees to be removed, less material, more parking, and would be integrated into the existing drainage system. In effect, the lot that's created is a large French drain integrated into the existing ditch system. So it's really just an expanded extension of going both down Summit Road and down the hill by Sasana Monument. So the project moved, as with all projects during the last month of the construction season, the timing was driven by the availability of people, equipment, and materials. The village does, as Fran mentioned earlier, the village does not own the equipment sufficient to accomplish the task and had reached out to the town for help. Their equipment was fully booked. Wagner Lumber had the equipment and a window, and Les delivered them. Additionally, beyond the Les Wagner Foundation grant, which was $7,000, Les donated thousands of square feet of geotechnical fabric. He gave us all of that. his time as a lumberjack. You'll see lots of pictures of Les, 76-year-old Les, cutting wood. And he also walked down the hill against my strident objection and helped clear more of the, if people go up now, the view is even more spectacular and Fred had cleared more too. But Les was down there without a rope and he's chainsaw. The, but and through Les's good offices, he called Ann Lopke to get the gravel delivered, and Ann said, Wagner Lumber in the village do a lot of business with us. I'm going to donate the rock. So we only had to pay for the trucks to bring it up there. And importantly, the trucks to bring it up there, all this heavy equipment, we wanted to get it done before the paving, because if you see the paving in that area now, it's all torn up. So if who's ever, I forget who's doing what.
Reeves.
Yeah, Reeves had done it ahead of time, we would have destroyed it.
We would have never got on it.
I'm sorry.
We would have never got on it. That's why we wanted to do it
Right.
before that.
Right. So the project moved forward on an accelerated schedule determined by Fred as part of his normal and customary authority, as happened with the chapel lot, the guardrails, and because of the availability of labor, equipment, and additional donations within a limited time frame. Great credit is due to Fred Orrick for his new and economical plan, which accomplished a superior result at absolutely no cost to the village. We're going to have extra money to go for other cemetery projects. Thanks also to Les Wagner for his multiple donations of labor, materials, and equipment, not to mention his design expertise. Again, I apologize for not again making another presentation to the board, but the availability of funds, donations, labor, equipment, and materials drove the schedule to produce a very positive result, enhancing the most visited site in the village. We estimate more than 7,000 people visit Evergreen in a year. That's what we put, the figure we put in the grants that we solicit. We try to be transparent, and I've given a number of presentations to the board, but I mean, the Friends don't authorize things, we don't design things, because we don't have that expertise or authority. We just, we quit the cemetery committee because we couldn't raise money. And through the Friends, we can raise money to help the village. So thank you for your patience with this.
Mike, can I say one quick thing before we get to the next thing? And another gentleman, older than Les Wagner and older than the rest of us, is up there with a wheelbarrow putting wood chips and stuff on that trail. Isn't he, Peter? I won't brag about it. Yes, he is. Thank you.
Keeps me young.
It's only when we were working together, I constantly yelled at him.
You're the boss.
That's right. He's too damn old to be pushing that wheelbarrow all the way back there.
Well, as Les Wagner said, the first 300 feet was easy.
That's right. We still had Dunkin' Donuts for break. We still had Dunkin' Donuts for break.
Exactly. Thank you. Although your brother was pissed that I took the Boston cream.
Thought it was Boston.
Yeah.
Get over it. All right, I'm good to go.
Fran, were you all done?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're gonna, sounds like a very productive judgment call.
Yeah, so that sheet that I mentioned, I gave everybody, I would like to have that put in minutes also.
I'd like to talk about the cemetery now, like, while you're still here. Okay, so we, as a board, we didn't approve it before, like, you know, before you built the trail, you came in and you got approval. And we, like a month or so before that, members of the cemetery committee came in and they accused us of not keeping records of where people were buried. And they said some stuff about, they suggested that we like go around with like metal detectors and figure out where people have been buried. And it was really off. Like we do know where everybody's buried. Like anytime there's a plot to be dug, there's an order, they know exactly where it's dug, and you know, things are taken care of. And in the past, you know, we've got the map, right? And all these changes are happening. Like we didn't get like a detailed map of like how many spaces, where's the entrances, where's the exits, what kind of drainage pipe would you put in? Did you study where the drainage would go? What size of the pipe? What's the slope to make sure that it would drain correctly and not, you know, not cause further problems?
Well, those really are questions for Fred.
Can I,
Well,
can I,
I'm just addressing the room,
is
exactly.
that, Laura, excuse me, do you want me to respond or I'm sorry, I'm not, I don't hear. As they said, I'm old, I apologize. Do you want me to talk about?
No.
Okay.
I just like to bring these up. So, the board didn't get to see how many spaces, where they would be, the flow of traffic. We didn't get to say, but we didn't get to give input before it happened to say, to give authority to say expand. The spaces of the sites, the grave sites weren't marked off. And when I went up there on Friday, I could see that there was equipment and materials left really close to the grave. And I took a picture and I shared it with everybody so you could see that. And I think before we dig up in the cemetery, we should have authorized that officially. And we should keep records of the locations and the alterations that we make. And we should notate the materials that we're using, so that there's an established history, so we know what we did and when for repairs. We would want to know if there's like a catch basin installed that we can clean, so that we can do maintenance on the pipe. We can ask about this. What's going to be, like, it would be wonderful to hear about all this stuff getting donated and then do the project. It's just that the order didn't go correctly. And
Okay.
Sure.
Anytime there is a grant written, there is, excuse me, investigations either with Fred or with other contractors as far as what it's gonna cost to do the project. Bids are put in for a project. And several times this spring, that grant was spoken about. It was being put in for that to do the work. And, as far as drainage, Fred can answer that stuff.
I want to take a step back from that. Because the night that Mr. Wagner and Peter were here, when you were talking about the roadway, they talked about the parking lot. Maybe I misunderstood the whole thing. I thought it was a go on the parking lot. I changed the parking lot, and this is my field of construction. And Laura, before you start saying stuff that you have no idea about the drainage and everything else, and there was about 6 inches of crusher run, or no, sorry, 2x4 rocks was a drain up there. I built a French drain that is 10 inches deep with filter fabric below that, above that, with millings on it. So what I put in is 10 times better than what was ever there. So the water will drain wider and deeper and more volume, and still be able to use it as a parking lot. If anything happened beyond that, I'm terribly sorry because I took it totally the wrong way. But building that parking lot is 10 times better than you have there completely. It will drain more water and help the woods drain more and cleaned out. And they need a parking lot up there because there's a lot of people that park inside where you're calling, and I'm sure there is, I don't know, where there's cemeteries that are, graves that are buried there. I don't know that. But for years, people have been pulling inside that area and parking by the cemetery, by the headstones that are there now. Yeah, our material was in there, and yeah, I might have left something close to a headstone. And I apologize for that. That's my problem with my guys. But what the cemetery committee did to make this village better, I took it and designed it and ran with it. Just like I have any other time with anything else that we have done in this village. I designed it. As long as it didn't meet my budget over $5,000, I didn't know I had to come and present what the parking lot was. I took it that you gave the cemetery committee permission to do what they did. And I just designed what their parking lot is. Beyond that, if I'm wrong, and I apologize, but I took it that day when they were bidding, or when you give them permission to build the walkway for on the cemetery, and they talked about the parking lot, I just thought it was all one thing. So if it's more than that, or if it was less than that, I apologize, but I designed the parking lot. And the parking lot is a lot longer than, you only need 18 feet by state law to park in it. I made it for, sorry, older people. I made it wider and longer for older people to pull in and not be so narrow. It's 24 feet by 140 feet long. And it's an access parking lot also to the walkway that they can walk that Peter Gordon has made. And we extended that because it's so much harder for people to pass through there. And that's why instead of having them parking where they've been parking for years, they put in what could be very nice in there. So I made the parking lot on the other side of the road so that we can close off where they have been parking for years and made it wider.
Real quick, I appreciate everything you've done. For a matter of record, everything you just said, could you write that down so that it becomes a matter of record so that in the future, somebody just can't come up and say, there's no record of this.
I get Peter my little notebook guy over here.
Yeah,
I just,
we should document what we put in, I mean, just so we know.
It's a 10 string.
Yeah. Well, it sounded so good the way you said it. If somebody like 200 years from now was to read this, they could,
Yeah.
well, yeah, we probably have
Well, I'll be
different
out there
technology
200
there.
years from now.
Yeah. Oh, you'll haunt us?
Brent?
I just wanted to comment about, being close to the graves. I mean, one of the reasons we wanted to get rid of where people park now is because it's close to the graves. And every year at Easter time, there's a group that goes up there in the dark to do a sunrise service. And they take dozens of cars up there. And the last couple of springs, we've had to fill in where they've dug up the dirt on top of graves. It's,
Charles,
So
this
the
is
extended parking
80 foot
lot.
ton of,
yes,
80 foot ton of tuition
No, are you going?
with 6 inches of milling. Filter fabric on the dirt from the 2x4s, and on top of 2x4s, there's another layer of
Geotechnical.
geotech, thank you, and then 6 to 7 inches of milling on top.
That sounds so good.
And the reason why we use geotech is so that mud can't come up through it.
Water will drain the blood.
Water, exactly.
think if we're aware that there's groups going up into the cemetery and parking incorrectly and tearing it up, that we ask them to change their plan and maybe have vans or buses or something that's respectful to our
Yeah,
cemetery.
well, they're gonna have a good place to park now that's away from the graves.
Great.
And, that area also, where they have been parking, is gonna be completely closed off by Tuesday night. There's gonna be boulders there, no one can be able to park in there again. And then by next spring, we're gonna get it surveyed and have plots to sell.
For ash, right?
Peter, you got something?
I just wanted to clear, the cemetery committee and the Friends are different groups altogether. We're a private 501c3 corporation. So, but we do work intimately with the cemetery committee on the proposals. And also about the records, I'm sorry if somebody came here and accused the village of not knowing. That's bad. Pat and I spent months on the public record before this administration, trying to fix the spreadsheet, because it was never, the records were never transferred onto the public spreadsheet. So I think as far as we were involved, the Friends were involved, was to fix the public spreadsheet. It wasn't that the village was incompetent in their it was what was on the web pages. So I don't know, I wasn't at the meeting where the accusations were made, but Pat and I got involved because we spent weeks on those records, and it was merely transferring existing village information onto the public platform. So I hope that's what is moving forward. Because you don't want to say the village doesn't know. Sorry.
All right, I think we beat this.
Well, if we should vote to authorize that it go on. If you're planning to continue it, we should authorize it.
Okay, so someone want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to do that lovely parking lot with Fred up at the Evergreen Cemetery.
And to close off the other area with boulders.
And to close off the other area with big boulders.
I'll second that.
Stop parking on the graves.
And under discussion, I would just add that we don't have detailed plans and materials and all of that. It's just as presented verbally by Friends of the Evergreen.
Well,
As submitted by the
And
department.
as I mentioned last year, the other parking lot that we did down by the chapel, nothing was designed.
Right.
That was brought to the board. Fred took it on himself and with the contractor and came up with a design and did it. There was nothing presented to the board.
And in my comments, I also add that we've been talking a lot about the erosion and the water coming off of that hill. And we should have thought about that before we started landscaping and changing the land, that we should have had a drawn plan and looked at it and maybe had somebody else look at it. There's a hydrologist on the Climate Smart Task Force that I asked if he would be willing to look at the Evergreen Cemetery drainage. He said yes. So we're not using our resources, and we're just building whatever because it's happened. And we didn't properly plan this.
Okay, point taken. Rusty?
Yeah, I'm gonna address that a little piece there real quick. I understand all that about having experts look at this and that. Be careful if we have a hydrologist come up into that cemetery, because he's not just gonna look at that ditch there or wherever he comes or wherever he is, and he starts looking at everything. We already know all the things that we shouldn't do, can't do wrong in that cemetery. So be careful when you invite that state actor or somebody up there. That's just a little side piece on that. One way we could do this, we could add this to the motion if we so chose. We could say that we are approving this parking lot and we are giving our superintendent of public works the authority to finish it in the manner that he sees fit. That would be a way to do it.
That sounds excellent. I would like to amend my motion to that.
There you go. We have a second?
Second.
That won't necessarily solve every little detail of looking at everything, but it gives us at least some degree of, we've made a decision, we authorized somebody, we followed some process here.
Yep.
Does Peter want to throw something in here? It's not my place to tell you, Ken. Oh, I thought you wanted to say something.
Yeah.
Ask the mayor for the floor, not me.
May I? Sure. Lauren, could you reintroduce me to the hydrologist? And I'm happy to go. Somehow I spaced this, and I apologize. But I'm happy to, because we do have really extensive anecdotal knowledge. I won't say engineering knowledge, but about the, because there's a whole water pipe system up there. So there's a lot of, so I'm happy to go up there with him and for that person. And thank you.
But once again, as I was saying, what we're sniffing at here is just that hillside into that ditch, into that little drain. We're not, maybe some other time we want to play with the whole cemetery, but right now we just want to fix that particular piece.
But that whole cemetery plan
Oh, yeah.
was made many years ago.
Oh, we need to be ready when we start playing with that.
Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a motion.
I would like the motion to include that we are installing a French drain and not just a parking lot. For the record, because that's the work that you're doing, to install the French drain and the parking lot.
So you want to approve the French drain?
Well,
It's already
you're
in.
saying that he's doing the work, but just like
French drain's already in.
say what the work is.
French drain is already in.
French drain goes over under a parking lot.
Yeah, they
You just
dug
said
down
that.
in the dirt.
So-
10 inch of, the
And
10
they
inch of
put the cloth,
French drain.
stone, more cloth, and then
Yes.
the millings, and that created the French drain.
It would be very good, for the record, to just draw on a map and keep it in the records where the ditch
Peter,
was dug
you
for
got
the
the map.
drain, the fabric that was placed around it, the stone,
Yep, that's a map.
then the pipe, more stone, what it might have been covered with or not, like if it had silt in or not, if you left it exposed.
I'll draw that up. I'll submit it to Rod tomorrow.
So where's the entrance? Where's the exit?
There is no, you
You have
have
no
parking
of the pipe, the trench pipe.
There's no pipe. It ties into the old trench that was there.
There was a drain
There
there.
wasn't really a drain there. It was,
You just install the French drain with a pipe.
there is no pipe.
It's not a pipe.
There's no pipe.
no
It's
pipe.
It's just a stone French drain with
It's
no
just
pipe.
no different than what you had there. All you had was rocks growing weeds on it. I have a filter fabric, geotech, between each layer that creates a French drain. There is no drain up there.
There's no pipe.
No pipe. I dug it out. There's no pipe.
Natural drain.
It's a natural drain.
So
They
that's
put
what
it
the
on naturally, put it in
French
man-made.
drain makes the water go down in the soil instead of running off.
Right.
I'll send you a rendering, and to Rod for the record, a rendering with measurements of it's easy to do, because we have the dimensions.
As much as we want process and stuff, we do it, I get all that. That's way too much for this motion.
I
We can take our people's word that they're gonna supply that information. I think that, don't add all that.
Put you right down, Rob.
Well, the original motion was to approve it.
Approve the parking lot under the auspices of Fred as supervisor.
He says there needs to be a trade, there needs to be a trade.
Amen.
I like that. So let's vote on that. Dave?
Yes.
Laura?
No.
Rusty?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. There you go. Issue.
So there's been.
You have more for you.
What else you got, Fran?
I'm just going, I got a couple more things and I'm done. 381 Main Street, we redone the catch basin in that street, the Bell Street, Erie Street, we replaced new catch basins there also. And today I met with Nimer's insurance company and took him through the fire station 1 and 2 and showed him some of the stuff that we did outside where the grates were. We filled them in because that's what he wanted done. That was all taken care of, and he, as of before he went to OPD, he was very, very happy of what we have done for our insurance. So, just so everybody knows that, and I have spent a lot of money in catch basins we have, for catch basins this year. That's it, I'm good, I'm gone.
Let's do this motion, which Nate's gonna have to help us out with. The civil service thing on the agenda, Nate?
Is that for Fred?
Yeah,
Just explain it to us.
Nate's gonna explain it. 'Cause I try to get around.
Yeah, so this is just to basically change Fred's title. I think I sent that to you and Fred a couple months ago. Is that right, Mayor?
Yeah. It's a civil service.
So this is to basically make it from a from a competitive position to a non-competitive position, as I recall.
And that's the language, provisional to appointment.
So we'll do that.
Thank you.
Have them stuff.
I'll motion to approve Fred Ulrich having his title with civil service as provisional to appointment, superintendent of public works.
Second.
Moving on that. Quick. Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Absolutely.
Dave? Yes. Hopefully that clears that issue up.
Cool.
With civil service.
Nothing, everything, clears everything up.
Not with civil service, yeah, no matter what we do, they don't like it. So. All right. Anybody have anything to do?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh,
We're good?
you good.
You're good.
Thank you.
Let's see, we have one EMS thing on the.
Oh, let's say it, come on.
Yeah. This was money that we got in for, basically a grant.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Thanks. Somebody want to do that? You know,
Fred, you wanna vote to bump the EMS budget there on the line item? I second Fred's motion of, that gets it out.
Bump the EMS budget, by $3,000 for state money received, for education and training.
we got a motion second. Anybody have any questions on that? Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Rusty? Yes. Laura? Dave? Yes. Yeah, let's do homecoming parade, that's an easy one. Everybody get a parade from the same as always. September, get the date, it's
Yep.
coming up.
I make a motion to approve the homecoming parade.
I second that.
Discussion, questions about it? Hope not, because they're not here.
It's all the same, right?
Yeah, same as they were here. don't remember what date.
Doesn't matter, doesn't matter.
Yep, 10:05 in the morning,
I think it's pretty good.
11 a.m. Forming finance time.
I think the games are too.
Yeah, so you're gonna start at Temple Street, right on the north
Oh,
Ave,
yeah.
left onto George Street, and right on the school campus. Easy.
The Little League parade, no, the police station to the school.
They're gonna form at 10, they're gonna move at 11, and they do not request police protection.
They request 20 minutes or whatever.
They request fire police to do traffic. 11 a.m. what date? I don't have it.
10:05.
Thank you. Saturday. Okay.
Let's vote on that. Dave? Yes.
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 Charles?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
And yes.
There's one that's not in here, but the police chief on the,
Yes.
the bobblehead,
October 18th.
October 18th. Did he tell you that?
Yeah, there's a couple of things there. So I'm gonna make a motion, but I'm not making it yet. But what it's gonna say is that we approve the Village Appreciation Night at the fairgrounds, sponsored by the PBA and the police department. We're going to be approving their use of the fairgrounds, their exception to rules, whatever those may be, and their no fee. And then there'll also going to be a fireworks thing, and we want to approve because the fireworks have to get rolling. So we want to approve the fireworks, even though I can't give you the firework document right now. But we want to approve that contingent on all of the documents of all the approvals, all the insurances, licenses, all the documents from the fireworks company and approvals with the state. So we're going to ask to approve the fireworks contingent and the appreciation night with all the exceptions.
What was the date on that?
The 18th of October, Friday.
October 18, Friday. And are you saying that that's a motion?
Yes.
Because Rod heard it. So I'll second.
Any other discussion on that? I want to say it starts at 5, but don't quote me on that. Work all that out. Joe's putting it all together. He's got quite the
Bigger than ever
plan this year. He always tries to do bigger than ever, but yeah, no, we didn't do National Night Out because National Night Out fell on the opening night of the fair. So we kind of jammed this. So it will be a bigger event than usual because usually we do 2 of them. Vote on that. Brad?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles? Yes. Rusty? Yes. Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Yes. Well,
Mike,
that's
you-
one thing I had to.
Mike, you wanna do that? Police vehicle.
That was on the agenda, we can do it.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Go for it.
I'll send it to police.
So, when we did the budget, we had, the police chief had requested a new vehicle. One of our Chargers is in, I'm not gonna say bad shape, but it's got 100-something thousand miles on it. Justin has been tearing it apart, rebuilding it every other day. So he wants to replace that. When we did the budget, we put in there, he had put in there for a new car. We took it out and marked it ARPA money. So that's what we're trying to do tonight, because our ARPA money has to be spent by December 31st.
Mike, do you know how much we have left?
I do. Somebody get that right now.
You know, excuse me, Mike, there was old business with, giving the bonuses out of that ARPA money.
And we're doing police report. We're doing police report.
Okay.
So there's 102,300, well, 102,371.46.
What's that?
What was that number again?
102,000.
102?
So we had originally in the budget $60,000 for a police car. When we were in deep trouble, taxes 1,000,000%. We took it out, like we took out a bunch of stuff. And then when we got the investment, we didn't put it back, but we could have or not. And of course, I tried to warn you guys when we were talking about the electric vehicle money that we had police cars coming and we had to pay for. But, this is one.
So we've got two state bids.
I've got the
two
bid
different
here.
cars. We got a bid on a Durango, which matches the Durango that we just got. And then we have a bid on a Charger, which is the same as the one that is going out.
Okay. I don't have copies of this, we didn't get it in time, I'm just gonna give it to you real quick.
The chief would prefer the
You can't really
Durango.
read it exactly. So, anyway, the vehicle that they would like to have is another Durango. That was what he had the $60,000 in the budget for before, when I came and talked to you about their police cars and what they wanted, and we talked about whether or not we could get 2 electric Mustangs. We talked about then having 2 gas-powered vehicles, and it would be better to have, well, first they prefer them, it'd be better to have 2 Durangos than to have another Charger. They don't have a 2024 Charger. They're not gonna make the same Charger in 2025. If we bought one, we'd have to buy a 23 Charger. It'd be new, but that's what we'd have to buy. This Durango is on a state bid and doesn't have, with all the things on it, but not the light package that you have to put on it. It would be $47,500 for the Durango. That's on a state bid, and the place here is, there's a cross out there on that document if you look at it, because this was gonna be in conjunction with Vestal, so 3 were gonna be bought. And so this is just one. We can make you copies of this, but I didn't have an opportunity to do that. A Dodge Charger, a 23 Dodge Charger could be bought for in the area of $9,000 or $10,000 less. That wouldn't be the preferred vehicle, and it probably wouldn't be the best vehicle to buy. It's not what they'd like to have, but.
Yeah, the Durango is 47,487.
Plus,
like 10 grand of.
Yeah, that's why it's 60, that's why it's 60 grand, because it's always 10 grand to put the
Lights.
the things, the
Radios,
the lights, this
computers,
and that.
Is he gonna transfer the computer from the old one to this one?
Some of it gets.
Some of the stuff might be able to go out of the Durango, the computer might, or not the Durango, out of the Chargers, some of it. The light bar on top, you can't put that on there, you can't do some of the stuff you can.
Yeah, you said the computer was 8,000 per car, and then the adding on the roll bars and the other stuff and the lights.
Cage in the back.
Yeah, so it was about 15,000.
No, I think that, because he was talking 8, 9, so I'm thinking the computer is doable, 8 or 9 for the, yeah. So, do we want to buy a police car, which we need to have, and do we want to buy that one, and do we want to take it out of our money?
In the past, the chief's gotten us the sweetest deals on vehicles because of his connections with other departments
Correct.
and stuff.
This is also
Can we wait for another secondhand vehicle? Or does he not think that that's gonna, like, the last time we got Dodge Durangos for 17,000. So.
we got Chevy Tahoes that were 4, 5, 6 years old.
Yeah, but they're still 17,000 and like.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah, they were a good deal.
Yeah.
I don't
How
think
long ago was that now?
it was 4 or 5 years ago. I don't think he sees another good deal coming, because obviously this is with Vestal, who we get the good deals with.
And I think like the used car stuff has changed so much.
Yeah.
You're not seeing the
So he did find this ad with the Vestal connection, but those things are few and far between, and it might not be dissimilar to this ambulance thing. They don't pop up very often. But nothing's impossible. And of course, there is no free money, and I've lectured this forever and ever and ever. So ARPA money is not like, oh, well, if we don't buy this, we're gonna lose it. We're not gonna lose it. We're gonna spend it on something. But as I was talking about before, when I was fussing about the solar, this is something that we need, that we're gonna have to spend taxpayer money on if we don't do this. But this is still taxpayer money because it's money we would expect somewhere else. So it's not free money. It's not free money.
Car we have certainly was big one diamonds. Yeah. With repairs.
See it on the web all the time.
Yeah.
It was in there yesterday, no, not yesterday, but this
This is in
That's
the last
right.
week.
This is the past week, yeah.
That's a decent price in my opinion. For that, like that, you know, paid almost that for a used vehicle.
Right.
Decent car, decent price. There's advantages of having two of the same too.
Right.
One little correction.
Yep.
We thought we had 102, we didn't factor in the 16,000
Yeah, that we spent last
approved
meeting.
a couple of weeks ago for the sidewalk cemetery, so we got 86,000.
86,371.
All right, well, that's what we got. Mike, you
That's
guys,
went through the other list that I put in, right?
That one we just did, so we didn't show that.
We did that last week.
That's
so Mike,
Yeah.
you gonna make a motion? What do you want to do?
Yeah, if we can.
Wait, Charles.
Charles,
Yeah, I'll make that motion
which motion was that?
for the new vehicle.
She gave us a sheet.
The
Right.
Dodge Durango, but on that list,
Bells and whistles.
at a maximum of 60, so the 47 and then the add-on.
Right.
And then this one was-
60,000. Who seconded it?
I do.
Trustee.
Any,
Well, I'm still concerned that we have enough money from the ARPA funds to give bonus to the rest of the employees that were with us at the time.
so that leaves us with 26,371. Like a different discussion, but that's less, or that's more than the amount that.
Is it? Okay.
Well, that's more than, we'll talk about that in a minute.
All right.
We're gonna do this motion.
That'll get us.
All right.
I don't think your motion included where the money was coming from.
You want to say from ARPA?
ARPA,
Yeah.
no, that's fine, that should be there.
What was the amount for that current?
60.
Up to
Okay.
60.
Up to 60.
From ARPA. Is that right, Charles?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's vote on that guy. The car up to 60,000 from ARPA. Dave?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
And yes. Okay, we did that. Now we're on the ARPA money subject. Let's talk about the old business, which is the bonus money. For, right, so the PBA got it, all the employees would like it, and the other CDSA and non-CDSA. It was about 17,000, I think. Cindy had for us. 4 or 5 days ago. Rusty?
So we had talked about this numerous times in an executive session in the past, a number of years ago, whatever it was. Some people were not pleased about giving the police department any ARPA money. Me. I thought that was a bad plan because of where it was gonna go. Now, that's here nor there with this, the union wanting, the ZSEA union wanting stuff. One of the things we said was, if we start playing with this, where do we stop? Now, right now, somebody's requested it. We had a line, and it was 5 police officers. And now someone's requesting that we move that line up here and include a dozen CSEA people. But we talked about this before, it didn't mean we made a decision. It was one of our conundrums. What about the part-time people? What about the EMS? What about the volunteers? What about all this? And then we talked about, oh man, what are we gonna do if we start doing part-time people? How are we gonna prorate how much everybody gets? This was one of our problems with the slippery slope on the ARPA though. And when we did it for the police, we knew that we didn't, now it's a long story. We were kind of stuck. It wasn't like we wanted to single them out. We were stuck with a piece of negotiation with the union, which
We were there, and they got it, and now our other full-time employees,
they wanted.
well, not now.
They wanted it.
They wanted it.
They wanted it.
Avoid at that time.
Not an unreasonable thing.
Well,
What about-
actually, it's one of the stated purposes of the ARPA fund.
We
To
knew
give
that.
bonuses to the,
We knew that.
people who are working.
We knew that, and when they first came out with it, there was only a couple things we could do with it. And then, of course, they opened that up and let us do a whole lot of things with it. All I'm saying is, are we taking the line and moving it from took care of this group, and now we're gonna take care of this group, but we're not gonna take care of this group or this group, we're still cutting it off.
Or who else is left?
All the part-time people that went out there and put their lives on the line in ARPA and worked and did stuff. How about somebody that worked from home during ARPA? That didn't go out and meet the public and put themselves at risk? Do they deserve to have ARPA if they worked at home? How about somebody worked at home half the time? Do they deserve half of it? These were all the things we talked about all this stuff before. And I'm talking about it again. I don't have the answer. I don't know what we should do. It's the reason that we didn't do it for so long is because we had these conflicts.
We're down to 26 grand of ARPA money, and we can afford to do it for the full-time, staff that we had. My opinion would be to do it for them, and then basically we're out of ARPA money.
So we had 12 people?
I made that number up. I don't know how many.
I forget the number.
I can't remember the number either.
Some of it's working now.
There's a whole set of rules,
Ones that
so
were working
when
now.
we did it for the
Well,
PBA,
that's working now.
there's a whole set of rules. You had to be working then, you've gotta be working now.
Not somebody that was working there. then
It
they
has to be full time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we did do that. We did do that with the PBA. If you worked
It'd be
during
the same
ARPA
rules.
and you retired or quit, by the time we were about ready to give the money, we weren't gonna give it to you retroactively. We had a bunch of things that we considered.
I have a question. The ARPA money that was given to the police department was basically given because they were on duty facing the public during the pandemic, putting themselves at risk. Was there any time that the clerical workers in this office were facing the public, putting themselves at any risk?
We used to spray down all the mail that we got, disinfect the
Opening
mail.
the mail?
Oh, yeah. And people came in.
People came into that.
We never closed the
Talk
door.
to them.
We never closed.
People came into that little lobby there, that little
Big
box
old
lobby, the doors were closed, so they didn't have access to that, but they had whatever exposure they had.
We never closed down the office.
And the same with the sewer plant guys, they actually were exposed worse than anybody, to be honest. Because they originally, in the beginning, it was nothing, but they eventually figured out that the COVID was being transmitted from sewage. And they are still testing our sewage to see what level our community is at.
Right.
They-
So they said
So
that
lots of different levels of
They're
risk.
like the worst, really.
there's 11 people, 2 from sewer, 1 from EMS, 4 administration, and 4 from DPW. So it'd be $1,600.
Did you get the EMS?
I have, yes.
EMS, didn't we already give EMS something?
She got a state bonus.
They got the $3,000 state pop, EMS that nobody else got.
The only problem is that would it be legal to give an additional bonus to the EMS person if they've already received one? If that's the main question, maybe.
That's a main question, but
Um,
the one that she got was through the State Department of Health or something like that.
What
It
was the
a grant
purpose of
kind
that?
thing. It was for EMS and hospital people that worked during COVID.
COVID bonus.
Specifically.
And it's $1,600 per person?
Did we give 18 or 16, Mike, to the police?
16, I think it was 16. Because we wanted them to have 1,000 after.
I'm sorry, so we wanted to catch the taxes and, yeah, okay.
And what, since you got the email there, what's the total?
17,600.
11 times 1,600, 17,600. Right at that.
Yep.
We did.
Shouldn't the DPW guys be involved in this too?
It is, there's 4 DPW, 4 administration, 1 EMS, and 2 sewer. This is from Cindy's, so if there's someone else that's missed, please let us know. Yep.
So that would leave us $8,771 left.
Oh, we'll find some.
And once again, I'm just repeating what I said. We're gonna give, we gave it to the police, but we didn't give it to these guys. Now we're gonna give it to police and these guys, but we're not gonna give it to those guys. It doesn't smell real good to me, but it's not bad for the people.
Full-time employees.
But it already goes.
It doesn't have to be full-time employees. That's not, there's no rule for that. Did the full-time employees, stay with us and help us get through and put their lives on the line, and the part-times didn't? Just explain it to me, I don't know. How about, I don't know. How about a part-time police officer that's out there meeting the public and being out there every day? Does he? I don't know. That's why I said this is complicated about where you draw that next line.
They all do. They already do.
I mean, all the volunteers and.
Volunteers too, volunteers, that's another place of the line.
I mean, we did it for the full-time police officers, that's. I'm
Well-
saying for the full-time,
Right.
other
Right.
full-time
That was
employees.
Do you know why we didn't do it for the part-timers? Because they weren't in the union.
Right.
Because if we were gonna just take care of people, we'd have taken care of them, but we didn't have the money to spend, and we didn't do it because the union doesn't represent them and didn't demand it. That's why that happened. Elsewise, the part-timers would have got it.
I mean, I think it's a step.
Hey.
Keep our full-timers that were with us then, that are still with us now,
Appreciation.
4 years later, a little bit of appreciation.
And Mike, that's well said, because we don't have any money, we can't give them the raises we want to give them, we don't pay anybody crap. Jeez, I want to tell you, this is whatever it is. Ladies in the office are fabulous, do a great job, work hard.
Yeah.
You know how much those guys at the frickin' DPW are getting? $15, $16 an hour. It's actually, it's an insult.
Yeah.
It was a little bit that we can give somebody.
But it is something, so it is a way to tell them that we do appreciate them and that we can't give you raises, but we can give you this. I get it.
Making that work.
I'd like to make a motion to give these people $1,600 apiece through the ARPA funds.
For the.
Would you be more
full-time
specific about these
For
people?
the full-time employees who worked through that part of COVID from March
I would say
2020.
follow the same rules as the PBA.
What
And
they're
are-
on here.
and are still
They're
employed.
following- Yeah, they're still employed.
Because that's how we got that list.
Yes.
Okay.
Not my phone.
Last little piece, are we gonna double dip Sonia?
Well, right, that's good.
What about? are
Well,
we
but
gonna
that's
double
a
dip?
neat question, because I just wanna make sure that that's legal.
Well,
That's all I'm worried
there's
about.
two questions there. One is it legal, and two is it
So-
what we wanna do?
I would be fine with it because it was a state thing just for paramedics and nurses and doctors, and like it was a program that we just, it cost nothing, we just applied and got it for it.
And another reason to be fine with it is if anybody was at the most risk, it was somebody in an ambulance with a sick people.
Which is why the state did that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anyone want a second?
Yep.
You got that?
Charles, second.
Oh, thank you, Charles.
Vote on that meeting.
Yeah, I'm gonna say to my last piece, I'm probably gonna vote for this, but, and not because I'm displeased about giving it to them, because I'm a little displeased that we're still leaving some people out. And I said it, I think I voted for the police one too, and said the same exact thing. I'm not in favor of this because we're leaving people out, and I'm not in favor of this because we're leaving people out.
We still got $8,730, so figure out a way to.
Maybe we could do that.
Buy some Walmart cards?
No,
Did you say Walmart
Well-
cards?
Aldi's.
The only,
Thank you.
Walmart cards in Nigeria.
the part-timers becomes the hardest one.
Yes, there you go. Taco Bell and Aldi's.
Looking over the list of how we spent the ARPA funds, I would be with Rusty that we should put any remaining money to the part-timers who
Right.
were here. Because we have so how we spent the money is like gutters, pool repair, pool pump, new roof for shredding of boxes, power,
You got a motion going here, you can't.
This is discussion on it.
So,
Yeah.
but for next meeting, let's come up with it, because we're gonna have to have a
This is
system. how we
discussion
can
about
write
this one.
We already used
Fair.
the money for rent.
Yeah,
We
that's,
just-
that's what we forgot.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's in the numbers now.
All right.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you, Mike, we should bring this up next meeting.
Right.
The
But we didn't,
potential for
How to
some,
divide up
we
the
didn't think
rest
about some.
maybe
system
something for
how to
the
do it,
part-timers with what's left or
Yeah.
something.
But we need something.
I would feel, I'm a little more comfortable in that thought.
But we need some sort of criteria, like we have a criteria for this.
Well, that, and then we run into, yeah, the part-timers, how in the world do you figure it out? But still, something can be
Well,
done.
the
Can be done.
payroll, he can find it from payroll.
Can be done.
Send me all. So big party. What?
More garage doors than we will for.
Let's do it.
All right, let's vote on this. Dave? Yes. Laura?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Brandon?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes. We got enough. So that leaves us $8,770. Yeah, 877. So let's figure out how we divide that up between the people that didn't get something. Then again.
How much was that again, Mike? Around 8,000?
8777.
Oh, I would say how that divides up exactly. 2 for Mike, 1 for each of the rest of us. That's it right there.
So, but the people who were with us 4 years ago and are still here should get something.
Yeah.
Even if it's $50, it's still something.
I'd be more comfortable about that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Let me get a letter from one of them tomorrow.
Yeah. Let's see, we did the police vehicle. Let's do Peter Schaefer.
Peter Schaefer.
So he's contacted me about a position on the planning board, which we need somebody on. Seems like a good guy.
He's a neighbor to down from us. He's a very nice neighbor. He seems like a very nice family man. They bought the house in 2015, but they didn't actually come and live here until about 2020. But they did loan their house out during COVID to a young family down in the city who lived on like the 5th floor with an elevator and had very young children. And I kept seeing little kids there, and I was really a little confused, but you know. And then I emailed his wife at one point, and she said, "Oh, it's our friend's son and daughter-in-law and their children because they were in this, you know, apartment that was very difficult to live with during COVID with these children. So they actually loaned their house out to these people for a while." And I thought that was super nice. I was like, wow, that's really nice, you know. They're very community oriented. They do some things with Rotary also. You know, he's I think he's mostly retired now from his economy.
Right, he's a
Yeah.
public account.
Yeah.
Also showed up and was involved with several of our hazard mitigation planning meetings. So he's been active with us in the discussion.
So a number of people have associated on this film.
So, we need a motion. Nate, is the planning board one that I appoint, or how does it? I know that the planning is one of them.
You appoint subject to the board approval.
Yeah.
So I'll make the appointment for Peter Schaefer on the planning board.
And he's a replacement too. That there's a difference between a brand new one and a
Yeah, what's
replacement.
the term for that?
That's a good question.
But it doesn't matter. Make it Mike anyways, and we'll vote him.
So we'll figure out who he's replacing and when his term ends. That is a good point. We need to get that on the list.
Yeah, yeah, the right spot. So Mike appoints him. I move that we, where's that? Approve whatever that. Approve the appointment.
A second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Other than we'll figure out which slot he's going in and what the term is. Brandon?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? And yes. We got new, we didn't do fire department yet, but we got new member.
Charles, you got that?
Yeah, I'd like to make the motion to approve new volunteer firefighter. Excuse me, member Joseph Desmond Penning, to company number 3.
Give me a minute to write this down. A second.
Rusty.
Rusty seconded.
Yes. Joseph Desmond Penning, new company number 3.
Charles, you know anything? Is anything?
He's gone through the vetting and all that, gotten to us, so
DOT, so,
Yeah. Went to the corner.
had EMS or fire experience in East Maine. Fire experience, so good. Obviously, everybody in front of it.
We vote on him. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes. All right, got treasurer's report. Motion that you got.
Is it good, Mike?
Yeah. Need to dig into it a little bit. Yeah. This is the August one, so I gotta really look at that one to figure out how we ended. Yes.
Well, that's good feedback. Yeah,
So,
we should. Looks good.
it looks good.
We don't wanna know how much money we don't have.
Right, but I will figure that out.
The other three things, but the state was.
Motion.
I motion we approve the, treasurer's report for August as presented.
Second. Any other questions on it? Dave?
Yeah.
Laura?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
John? Yes. And yes. Now, there we got minutes.
For the minutes, I sent in, my trustee report late, and I also, there was one thing about, with Mike Rodenstein. Yeah, he put like Mike Hopkins down, and it was Mike Roden.
That was for some, I did that today.
That's Eric.
When you said, I'll take it.
Yeah, and then did you say that there was something else?
Trying to remember real quick, there was something that didn't fit right.
Yeah, hold up just for a second, because there was, I read it so long ago.
I'm gonna go back to communications. We got a letter. Anyway, we got a letter from a property owner about another property they would like us to look into. They've contacted code enforcement, who was trying to do some stuff. So anyway, I will get a copy of this, all these guys.
Did you wanna read it now or something, or what? I don't know, tell me. Is it confidential, is it something we should know, is it?
Yeah. It's to me and the board, so I don't know.
That's,
It's about 63 North Ave.
is that me? No.
I don't know. I didn't look up where that is.
That's good. That's.
Next to the fire station. Like, oh, God.
So,
Just want to share that with us, and then we can talk about it at another time,
Right.
next meeting.
Is that Staller's building?
yes.
Staller's building. The blue one there on North Avenue by the parking lot, that's, hasn't been occupied in so zillion
That's the
years.
name of the letter. Anyway, code enforcement has been contacted. They've attempted to contact the owner. They're asking what more we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is the code enforcement requested they do certain things and they haven't done?
We have to ask Mick. This didn't come from Mick.
Okay, well, it sounds like something, don't have all the information now.
No, we don't. We need to work into it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll wait till.
That's nothing on it.
Oh, that thing she said about.
Nothing. The building, I never should know.
It hasn't anything in a long time.
You'll notice it.
Oh, I would, I seen it.
So Mike, if I had something in the minutes, I couldn't find it, I'm going to, I'll make it, she'll make, I'm gonna move that we approve the minutes, if somebody finds something, we can alter that later.
Except for Mr. Roden, I didn't find.
Yeah, we can, if we find, if there's something there I can't remember, I can't find, we can do it another time, guys.
That's true.
Okay.
So, I move that we approve the minutes of September 3rd. I don't wanna try to find it now.
Second.
All right. Any other discussion?
With
Whatever changes.
Are we going to have an executive session to hopefully not take forever on, look at the PBA contract and potentially
Yep.
prove it?
You wanna do that?
I move we have an executive session, PBA contract.
At the end of the meeting?
Who's that? Necessity. Who seconds? I'll second it. Mayor, put the pressure. Everybody voted yes. Those vote Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Dave. Fran.
Yes.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Vote yes, I was right here till midnight last night.
Send that?
Hopefully not.
Anything else?
I'll remember later. No. I have anything else.
All right, we'll come back here. Charles.
I have nothing.
Laura.
I've got stuff.
Oh.
So we need to have the MOU signed for the brick ETA. Memorandum of Understanding.
Okay.
It's an agreement. So the brick DTA is direct, non-financial help. And so we will be getting experts from all these different fields to help us gain our goals. So what we asked for was help with our critical infrastructure. So this is what we're using to get help for the culvert to the wastewater treatment plant and help for all of our buildings and critical infrastructure, the major buildings and sites around the village. It covers training and education for us and for the public, and it includes an upper Susquehanna watersheds hydration and hydraulic study. So it would be finding out all the water that's draining coming into us. So we'd be working with the government for 3 years and start this out Rusty, I'd really like you to come to the meeting.
Yeah, I'd really like to work with the government for 3 years.
Because it's advancing
We
our.
can really work with this government.
We are the government.
We are the government.
We're telling them what we would like to do, and this is them helping us get to it, right?
So you're applying for grant money for that?
No, so we already got, we already approved on that.
Oh,
We
okay.
just need a motion me to sign that.
Yes. So
Oh, okay.
long time ago, we approved going out for the grant. We were applying, right? We were awarded. It's just not financial. It's worth a whole lot, but it's not a money award. It's their time and effort award.
Oh, okay.
No money exchange.
So we get it for 3 years.
So what do we have to do now?
We have to designate somebody to sign it. So I'd like to motion for the mayor to sign the RIC ETA MOU.
I'll second that.
And I don't wanna talk about this hardly long at all, but is there something we're obligating to here that we don't know about, that we don't wanna do?
No, we're just asking them for.
Okay.
And like I said, there's no money, it's just agreement that says they're gonna help us.
Yeah, but, no, you know what I'm saying? Like when it says, look, you know what, all those piles of dirt out there you can't have any, yeah,
Right.
yeah, what are we getting into?
No, it's super low risk.
Yep, we will begin help about the culvert and talking to them about what we would like for Owego.
Let's vote on that, so I can sign it. Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Fran.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
And yes.
Okay, and the next thing is to sign the agreement with NYSERDA for the CEC grants. So that's NYSERDA is the New York State Energy and Research Development Authority, and CEC stands for Clean Energy Communities. And we got 3 grants that we combined, and it's worth $240,000. And this is, signing the agreement to, work, do the contract for the project, for the money. So
Which is
we,
the electric cars, the
Solar.
panels.
yep,
So we're signing,
It's the same thing, a motion for me to sign the paperwork.
That we accept the money.
I second it.
you were talking about this before, that the way this is coming, we're gonna get 15 grand immediately because of that amount, that grant, and then there's another chunk of grant that's 75 grand, there's another chunk of grant that's 150 grand.
You get to 15.
What's that?
We got to 15.
We got to 15 already,
We didn't even
but
sign
we
it.
don't get this other money, we gotta do these,
Right.
we gotta get the next approval, do these projects, get paid back money, it's tricksy little stuff.
Gotta send the invoice in.
yeah, so, we've already got the 15,000, because it was a low amount of money. The 75 and the 150, we had to do the contract to get the money. And so there's a project manager. We already had a meeting with her to go over the contract. And so she'll be who we work with. So
She's a state employee.
she's a state employee. She's
We don't
been
have to pay
assigned to us. We don't pay her. She's been assigned to us. And, I'll be leading I'll be the project lead to talk to her. So, give her all the quotes that we got, and then they look them over and approve that we get to go out and buy the
Solar
power
panels.
equipment. Yeah, the solar stuff will take a lot longer, but what we'll do right away is purchase the car, the, level 2 chargers, and the electric landscaping equipment. And they'll give us 25% of the money ahead of the time, to make the purchases. And then after we show our proof, so it's a bunch of like Excel sheets and stuff that we have to submit. A picture of the car and proof that you paid your bills and purchased the right things. So.
We get 25% of that 75 grand. We gotta buy this stuff, and then we get the other 75% back after, whenever they get close to the bottom. More of that same borrow million, but
Yeah,
it still is what it is.
Sounds like a quicker turnaround.
Yeah, so it'll be quick for those three things, and then the solar panels, will be working more long-term, and this is a 3-year contract that we have. So, so this is, I'll make a motion to have the mayor sign the agreement.
What was that called? Was it NYSERDA there? What was it called?
It's a CEC.
CEC, yeah. CEC grant.
Any other discussion on that?
Second, Dave, second.
Right, Laura did it, Dave seconded it. Dave?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Charles? Yes. Carrie?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
And yes.
By chance, if we were to, find out things as we go along, that maybe that solar on the roof isn't the best idea, and there's more problems to it than we thought, is there a way for us to get out of that solar and replace it with something else? Or are we absolutely roped into that?
We told them that
That's what we wanted to do.
that's what we wanted to do. There's some wiggle room, amongst like the building design and like some
Right.
tweaks on the property.
No, I'm not,
But
different project.
changing the whole project to something else is not,
What about like not putting it on the roof?
no,
Like if we acquire a field next door, we put it in a field.
well, that would be placing it in the flood zone, and the roof is out of the flood zone.
We can build it up over there. Put parking under it.
Yeah, Anyway, these are all just thoughts about what our options might be with
Instead
that.
of putting
We
it
did
on the
get
frame.
quotes on the parking lot covers, and they were out of our league. I mean, there's different sizes and stuff like that, but like,
I don't really want to talk about that over right now, I just wanted to know if we somehow, for some reason, wanted to switch gears, whether that be possible, we'll talk about that another time.
the way the contract is written, it doesn't look like you can change to a different product or like, like we gave them the quote, we told them the plan, and I don't see a way to switch.
Good, because the quote won't be accurate, but that's okay. No, it doesn't matter, we'll talk about it another day.
So
We
the energy.
No, should we do that one? Or we just do that one?
Yep, we voted on both of those.
Oh, never mind. Keep going.
The Energy Choices Owego is our campaign. Erin Zipman was our intern, so she's got her new job. She's starting, so we're transitioning over with Nest to other interns that will be helping us out. So they have somebody coming on, Matt. Anyways, we'll continue to work. We don't have to pay any more money. We're continuing the campaigns, and people will be receiving a letter in the mail in like the next week or two, and it'll be about saving 20% on your NYSEG electric bill by signing up for solar. So it's a solar field that's somewhere up in Aurora, somewhere up north, and it's just investing in a future technology. And because the village has been declared a disadvantaged community, people can get the 20% discount. So I know I've had people knock on my door and offer like 5% or 10%, and I know, like, I hope people didn't get drawn into that, and they're not turned off by so many people sort of offering these sorts of things. So when they see this, they'll see that the Village of Owego's logo is on it. So hopefully people will understand that it's like legitimate, that we're and that they're getting the 20%, or because of us, because of the village is disadvantaged. So it's a great thing for people to save money. The village will make a little bit, and hopefully people will look into Nest and what other things are available, like the free home assessments. It's a really good thing. So we're sort of like we're still doing this, and we're trying to get as many, like 60 signups from the village before we'll end our campaign, because then we'll get more money through grants after this if we're successful. I have more ideas. I can give them to everybody.
My question was that, like all these different energy suppliers, so if you switch over to that, are you gonna get a bill? You're gonna get two bills. You're gonna get your NYSEG bill and then a bill from whoever they switch to.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, you're gonna get two bills. So they're NYSEG's working on one single bill.
Because on some of the other ESCOs, like Constellation, we got it from NYSEG and their billing.
Right.
This may be a whole separate.
So I think it's like if you have the budget with NYSEG, does that mess up the budget thing?
Good question.
Because personally, I got drawn into one of those a long time ago, and I said never again.
Okay, yeah, because they were really.
I ended up owing thousands of dollars.
They were really back then. What else you got?
We're trying to get a new date from Cadmus to visit the wastewater treatment plant for the energy audit. And they want to know our availability for the weeks of October 21st or October 28th. So I'm gonna get with Dirk to see about scheduling that. Asking for the village website to be updated for the unified solar permit that was created some months ago. So just that the permit would be available for people online. And can we also update it to include the letter or like the logos or just something from, or even if you could just post a link to the Energy Choices Owego link on there so that when people like look at the website, they'll see that it's legitimate, or they'll see it in all the places. And then also on the website, there's like the committees and departments. If we could have the CEC be added, the climate smart communities got added, and so this would be the clean energy communities.
You gotta
Add
send the
that
stuff
line.
in there.
Right, send me a,
You gotta send it.
I'm usually the website guy, so send it.
Okay. Wow. All right, I can do. All right. And then the climate smart communities bronze signs, we got, they got mailed to here.
I got it right there, you're ready to hang up, to get hung up.
Okay, you can hang up to yours. Oh, okay, and then the Climate Smart Task Force, we had our September meeting, and Grace Hodges from FEMA didn't come to our task force meeting because we didn't have enough churches respond back. So so we skipped having him, but he did show up for the workshop the next day, and there was like only a couple people and myself, and so I've got all I collected all his folders that he had, and so if I can give a mini presentation and share the info to churches and stuff that would like the information. So it's like how to get money from the government. It's 100% no match for these churches, but it's competitive. And so they need to write a really good story about why they need the money, but it's like 150,000 per building that they have. So if we were at the Methodist Church, they have 2 property addresses there, so they can get $300,000 towards improvements. And the improvements are like security cameras, doors, balusters, all the things that you can think of that churches might want, because they might be afraid of, violence coming into the building, violent people, or, things like that. They talked about their people attending, like how many doors they have and accessibility to the building, and having a plan for people to be able to evacuate, and how you talk about like your elderly or like people who need assistance moving around. There was just all kinds of things, and so I can give that mini presentations and then connect them also to Race, and he can come down and do another session possibly. And then he also provided he went over our hazard mitigation plan, and like I think only a handful of people have ever read it, but he did, and so he created this like document on each section about how we can meet our goals of like how we can work with what we said we wanted to do. So it's awesome. And so I'll try to share that. I'm going to try to get it digitally and then share it with everybody. Yeah.
Were the churches notified of this meeting?
Well, There was an email that went out to the churches, or a couple emails, but I thought it should have been advertised bigger
Yeah, I
than
mean,
it was.
that's,
I was disappointed that
I would,
wasn't shared larger.
I would think that if a letter was written to the pastors of each of the churches.
Yeah.
Make it direct to the pastor.
Already passed, I know.
Invite them to the program.
I spoke up at the meeting because I was sad that like we didn't invite all the churches. Like, you know, when Owego floods, we use, there's like a lot of
Yeah.
churches and stuff, and like there's a lot of churches around that people go to, and it's emergency preparedness information, and I don't think we need to hide it from the public. So, yeah, I wished it was.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's churches on the outskirts. I mean, the Nazarene Church, the Lakeview Church. I mean, all
Yeah,
the
I had to contact
people in the village go to those churches.
I had to contact people from different churches and tell them that it was canceled. Because they weren't on the original list. Yeah. And then the last thing is we can get a second free energy study. So we used our first one on the 90 Temple Street. And so, we went around the building, looked at the windows, all the insulation, the attic and stuff like that, and he made a recommendation about how we can, what we can do with the building to button it up. It was only $12,000 of money that we would need to put into that building. However, we need the other grant with the windows to be done. So we can, the energy improvements count on us doing the other grant first. But this would give us information on the building, and then it gives us recommendations on how we can save energy and save money and button up another building. So I was thinking that the firehouse, the central firehouse, because of its size and all of that, like it's gonna be hard, I think that would be a good building to invest, because it's like about $5,000 that the audits would otherwise cost, but we've done enough work to get this for free.
That'd be great.
So, does anybody think of anything else other than the fire station that could be a good, that you want like information on?
Is it supposed to be a building that we own, or how's that work?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think we'd have to give access to the building, they'll tell us the conditions, and I think that's the building where we have the most questions about it.
I mean, they're not gonna be able to access the upper floors.
Like for 90 Temple, they asked for the ladder and stuff, and they.
It's not that they physically can't get to them, it's that we have them closed off for health reasons.
Right. Like you can't go in them.
Well, there's one room sealed off, right?
Right. Which is a core building.
And actually, well, both of them.
Well, the whole third floor, right?
Yeah, the whole third floor has signs, you're not supposed to be there.
It's contaminated.
Both sides have issues, but yeah.
Think about it a little bit more, but so far, I think that
It's a good candidate, yeah, I think so.
that's it for me.
Are we up there?
No, somebody left.
In the spirit of what we've been talking about, certainly you and I have, and others have been talking about, where we are not following process a lot of times. People are doing a lot of things that outside of the process. I wanna do this with you right now. You just said that you're taking over this and that. We had things that we, made Julie in charge of, put her in charge of. We haven't made you in charge of any of these things. Maybe we, not tonight, but maybe we wanna do that piece of the process too. What things are you, I mean, you're doing 100 million things and 100 million pieces of work, but what things are you gonna be officially in charge of that we, the mayor, are we set? Because that's a piece of the process. You're just grabbing them and doing them, and we love it. But if we're gonna do the process, let's do it everywhere, everybody, everything.
I
Next time.
actually did get appointed the chair of the CEC.
There you go. By who?
By this board.
Okay, well then, that's a piece.
It was back in like January or February.
Good.
Where we when we started having our meetings.
I'm not complaining at you, I'm just saying, that if we're gonna start doing a better process, we need to do it. More, okay.
And just like before the 90 Temple Street audit, we got approval for that, I would, you know, get approval for this too.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? Terry?
Thank you. I went to the OHPC meeting on 9/6. They had 5 different properties that they talked about. Everything went pretty smooth. There were a couple suggestions for one of the porches, and the people were going to use trucks, so that worked out really well. They did ask if there's any updates on Tioga trails that anyone knows about, because that is something we have not seen any activity in. And we were wondering if someone should be contacted just to see if it was gonna continue forward.
I haven't heard anything about that. I will call, what's his name?
John Masco is the guy. Wouldn't hurt to somebody to reach out to him.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be more than willing to call him if you'd like.
I can.
You wanna call him? Okay, absolutely, that would be great. And the other thing is that we still need a replacement, for Jim Oberheiser on the commission. That would be something, his last meeting will be the first meeting in October. And then he'll be finished. So, but other than that, it was a very good meeting. I was done by 9.
The only person who has expressed interest to me so far is our own trustee Ed. He has quite the resume. More if you'd like to see it. Running a commission in the Philadelphia area.
I lost your mind. You said the only person that expressed interest was Edward?
Right.
And then what did you say?
No, I just said he sent me his stuff. He has quite the resume. He ran the historic commission down around Philadelphia for a while.
That will be an executive session.
But nobody else has come forward to say anything, so.
Yeah.
As long as, and I don't have any recommendations from Jim or anybody on OHPC that's to do.
Okay, I'm gonna be meeting with Phoebe actually to talk about that in the near future.
Because in the past, like I don't want to say they've picked, but they've recommended one.
Right, someone who might also express an interest. That sounds, yeah.
Executive session on that.
And, I know Jerry Wiley had something about the ad hoc committee for the Riverwalk. They did have the firemen come down with the Kubota and did some spraying. The area that's been sprayed is really nice because it is not slippery at all. That is one of the biggest issues with that silt, is it becomes slippery. They weren't able to do the whole thing because some of it hasn't been weeded, so there's no place to even get the mud to go. But the majority of it is much better. However, they found it was not very efficient doing it with that Kubota. So hopefully we can get the spigot placed through the DRI and get that, because then when we do have flooding incidents, we have some water with a hose that we would be able to maybe get it down, the silt down a little bit more. I know there's a lot of runners, you know, there's different people. There's a gentleman that comes through with a wheelchair frequently. You know, it would be nice for that not to be slippery. So.
Yeah.
And it looks much better.
Yeah, just in general, it'd be nice to just clean it off once in a while.
It would. So I really think that's gonna be the big key for just after moving mud during flooding events, then spraying it down. Yeah, that's gonna make a big difference. So anyway, the firemen came and they did a nice job.
Great.
with the work that's being done up there in the cemetery, parking area, the village really should be sending out some thank you letters to the Wagner Foundation, to Ann Lopke, and also to Les Wagner himself.
I agree.
Will you do that, Mayor? Thank you. And, the other thing with the cemetery is it was a year ago when we transferred money around to put into the one fund for the Doris Edwards account, and also the balance of whatever was in the perpetual care fund. Since it has been a year now, I would like to request that the interest that those two accounts have earned in the last year, the one from the Doris Edwards account, the interest should be transferred into the cemetery headstone account. So that was the purpose of the interest off that would be used for repairing those headstones. And also, the interest on the perpetual care fund should be moved to the Evergreen Capital Improvement Fund. So that is available for other projects that need to be done there in the cemetery. And, there's the financial statement from a year ago that would show what the original balances were at that time, and the two funds. I don't know if that needs to be voted on. That's something that is supposed to be done.
Right.
They're supposed to go into those accounts.
Where do you want to put the interest?
Okay, the interest from the Edwards account would go into the headstone repair.
Is that an account all by itself, or is that a
Yes.
line item?
It's an account by itself. And the interest from the perpetual care fund would go into the capital improvements account.
Which that's how the accounts are set up, so that's not something we need to vote on.
No, I just have to come.
It was voted on when we made the accounts.
Yeah. That's all I have for tonight. I mean, other than, we're waiting on Reeves to do the paving up there in the cemetery. Anybody that's driven up there lately knows how bad it is.
It's pretty rough. The view is beautiful.
Yes. I mean, that's another thing that Les Wagner did. We pay people before to cut those trees down.
Yes, we have.
So, the man has a bundle of energy.
It's beautiful. I mean, I live in the road, you get up there, get down there, yes.
Where did they, just real quick, where did they cut the trees down? Cause I was up there.
Sasana?
Over the hill.
At Sasana.
Yeah.
Cause
Both sides.
I walked the trail, we talked about maybe at the end of the trail, somebody might cut a few down. It's not
Oh,
on the trail.
that's
it's
fine. But at the monument,
Yeah.
on both sides.
You can see everything. There's no trees in the way. It's great.
On the green, when the leaves fall off, it'd be good. But
Very cool. Yeah, it was a Good Friday, so. So it's down to me. I think you're first. Oh, okay. You got anything? You went first.
I went. Oh, Dave didn't go at all?
No. You got anything, Dave?
Yes, I reached out to NICEAG in reference to their concern that there might be some brownouts on the south side costing us thousands of dollars in equipment, component repairs. I was having some trouble because I'm just a trustee and didn't have authorization, so Kim Norton kind of stepped in and helped me out with that and made some phone calls. what we came up with was, there's no way for them to actually track and monitor voltage coming into a building. But they did advise us, and Dirk has also been advised of this, is if there is a problem or was a problem during the night, to call them immediately as an emergency. And they'll dispatch somebody out within 30 minutes to come out and check things out. That way, even if they don't find anything, it'll be logged that there was a potential problem there. And once that log is established, a history will be started showing that we had multiple calls there for potential issues. All right. Once that's established, history, then they'll look into it a little bit more. Right now, it's just a matter of if you suspect there's a brownout or if a piece of equipment broke, even if it was on Friday night, you didn't notice it until Monday morning, call right away, get it documented. Unless you're up with the code. Dirk's been notified of all this. He's gonna take care of that, should anything in the future happen. Okay. So that's what, as far as them monitoring anything, consumption or voltage or amperage coming into the facility, they said they don't have the technology to do that, which I don't believe. That's what we were told.
Yeah.
I see there's a lot of comments on Facebook of pickleball courts, the lack of nets. Maybe we could use some of this money to buy a few nets for that.
Yeah, and that's, I looked up nets are like $100 for a portable one.
Yeah.
We just gotta figure out how we anchor them down, but we can figure something out.
They don't need to be anchored down, but I mean, they can come with sandbags on either side, but they're sturdy enough to say, I mean, you're not gonna be playing pickleball in a windstorm.
Somebody.
Vandalizing.
Yeah, that's the issue that we were trying to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, a pickleball club, you may have portable nets.
Well, yeah.
If you want to go play pickleball with me, it's like, where are we gonna get a net?
Well, I've seen people out there playing with invisible net.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
It's kind of,
But,
think about it, you know?
yeah. But,
Put a basketball hoop up without baskets.
yeah, if we assign somebody to pick them up, dismantle, I mean, you think who's stealing that, but yeah, there's people out there. I mean, we don't have a place to actually store it. I mean,
Well, we can store it, but how do you put it over there?
I was thinking that.
How do you get it over there and set it up?
Pickleball players, it's pretty simple. I sat out there and watched who came out there with a portable, and it's.
No, it's easy.
Right.
You can throw apples at it.
We're out of France.
So let's figure out the net thing. We'll buy a couple nets.
I've seen them from 67 to 100.
Right.
I mean, we wouldn't spend over 100.
I
I
mean,
mean, it's just a net. It's just
if we put Village of Owego on them, you know, please take a place.
No. Invite them to take them more. Those can't have nothing. I can't have nothing.
They make nice,
Can't have enough.
they make nice hammocks down at the foundry.
And then just a personal comment.
We got that.
Yeah.
Let it over the fence.
Seems like every time I go out of town and come back in, I see it, I get by the tracks there on Front Street, and there's a nice sign there, it's getting a little rusty, but it says Owego Historic District, and then there's 2 couches, 2 love seats, and it's sitting there for a week.
Yep.
They did get a letter, I believe, or it's
That's
gonna be sent out.
The whole place is like, put on our street.
I know,
Oh my
but
God.
We do have a methodology for that. If something's there for very long, we will pick it up and put it on their taxes.
Right.
It's
So there
been 13
does
years.
that happen?
Yeah, it does, but
It just takes it, like, we have to send them a letter.
Or does it depend on who it is?
Yeah. Well, so we have to send them a letter. They have so many days to do it themselves, and then DPW picks it up.
Terry said that a letter
I've seen
was
people
going
like to
out.
reuse stuff, and maybe somebody pick it up, and, you know, when it's been out there in the rain and snow, it's junk.
Yeah.
It's going to dump by the homeowner.
And it gets heavier.
Yes,
It does.
it's, I mean, I don't know why we
I
tolerate
mean, back in the
this.
days, not too long ago, if you put a couch outside, they'll take it away. Trash. That don't happen
No.
anymore.
No, they don't even get out of the truck anymore.
No, they don't. They got the little grabbers to grab the thing. They'll
Yeah.
pile stuff on top of your
Spend a
receptacle.
lot of money trying to make the town
Sure, I'm
beautiful,
not gonna
and
take
this shouldn't be tolerated.
Right. And it's all over the place, honestly.
I know, but it shouldn't be tolerated. was all that.
So between Charles and me, we'll figure out the net thing.
Yeah.
Try and get the waste people won't steal it. That's the hardest task. The net, buy the net is easy.
Cause I go down there like twice a day, back and forth. I go through there to work, change the trash down at the skateboard park. So, I mean, it's about the size of a, portable cribs, that pack and play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about that size. I think that left can fit in my trunk. If I figure out a schedule, I can go down there and dismantle it, put it in my trunk, and then come down in the morning and put it up. And,
Figure something out.
yeah. If I just let it off. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All right, back to me.
What?
I gotta make a motion to schedule a special meeting next Monday, 23rd at 7:00 on the subject of DRI.
Special meeting next Monday, the 23rd,
7:00.
7 PM, TRI.
Anybody like to second that?
Do you wanna, sure, I would second it. Do you wanna give us any hint about what that's all about?
It's about the budget and all that kind of stuff.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, next Monday?
All the budgets and whatnot.
Next
Going
Monday.
through it.
Okay.
That's here, statement.
Yes,
7:00.
7:00. We gotta vote on that.
7 o'clock.
Rusty?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Brad?
Yeah.
Harry?
Yes.
Charles?
Get pizza?
Good, baby.
Yeah.
James needs to do something for us.
No, Jake, you saw that. You were
Somehow,
talking about
the one here.
I did.
about special, yeah, there is.
Yeah, because we already had to send it out. Thanks, guys. Right. What else did I have?
See, Jerry is looking at possibly requesting a hose bib
For the Riverwalk?
We talked about that a lot.
You see that?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
The hydrant,
For the hydrant out back to wash off the Riverwalk, still.
Yeah, all right.
That's in.
Well,
Yeah, right.
They moved several times, 10 times, they must have had to bring the truck out to refill this small 100-gallon tank.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what took so
Why
long.
don't they just pump the water out of the river? Is that higher?
Let it roll up the hose.
I don't think that's legal, unfortunately, to pump it out of the river.
Unless the river.
Oh,
And you have to
yeah.
have, and it's low, so you'd have to have a floater pump, like,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't dredge in too much.
Yeah, but no,
I think
let's
it would
take
have
out.
been, it would have been taken a long, it would have taken a long time to do that.
So our last TRI project is to add, we're paying water.
Water, they're taking that from the hydrant.
Right, yes. So we're paying water. We're paying for it all.
But next year, if there's a spigot, because that's part of the DRI project, is to have a spigot somewhere on there. And it would
One at
only
each end, I think.
be after flooding events, which hopefully we get less than one a year.
Right, hopefully.
There might be a ton of reason to water it.
That floods pretty easy, so.
No, you have to have
A lot of it.
absolutely.
I don't think I have anything.
I
So, but we got an executive session coming up.
a comment, Dave was talking about nicely.
Oh, that was my other thing.
The whole, well, a good part of the village was without power for 6 hours this last weekend.
Yeah, and then again,
As a resident, I mean, I think we should be getting credit on our bills for.
well, I mean, the only good thing is your meter's not spinning, so you're not technically getting charged.
Spectrum was the same way.
But yeah, I don't know what's going on. So like this whole side of the village is flats and here,
There's that transformer that was on fire.
right here, outside the
Correct.
middle school.
Yeah, we didn't, I didn't lose power.
No, we didn't ever. But
Friday night, it was about an hour and a half, and then there was 4.5 hours on Sunday altogether.
Sunday, like in the morning it was out, and then I was cooking over at the youth football. We got there, the power was on. Half an hour into it, the power went out, and they come back on until after we left. Backing up. It was a real pain.
And there's
Well,
probably
that section of the
nothing
village
we can
seems
do. I
to
mean,
go out.
it's not, okay, as a resident of the village, I
Yeah, I need to call Harley and figure out what's going on. It seems like this section and the flats, and then further than that, was out all the time.
Well, I don't know how far up 38
Right.
was, but I know, up to about the bridge.
Yeah. And like, over the bridge, Jack Farmer cheese that was all out.
That was his last day.
It was.
Oh, dear.
All right, let's do our executive session. Oh, wait a minute, public comment. We still got somebody out. Okay, so we'll go into executive session. Wait a minute, we got a yes.
Sure you got it.
Won't go anywhere yet, we got public comment.
Please give me a moment to type.
Okay, somebody's gonna type us a message.
Do that, Eric. You got it. I don't know.
Well, now we got some public comment coming in.
Wait, do you have the specs for me?
You know, he said you,
I don't know.
I didn't get it. Does anybody have the specs for this car over here?
Yes, they're right here. You're welcome.
whoever JC is.
I wonder if they're still there. I think they are.
Oh, the other side.
We'll take care of it.
We gotta wait.
Yeah, this little flyer is really nice.
Hi, Nate.
Hey, Laura.
Nice haircut.
Mike, are you gonna call my cell?
I will, yeah.
Okay.
We're waiting for public comment. Then we'll do that. So type in the chat.
I still got it.
Video.
No, I haven't. I'll add it.
Yeah, we'll find out. She knows the Sunday service.
Oh, yeah, he started that.
JC says, as our public comment, I have lived here for over 15 years, and this is the first meeting I have been to. I applaud all of you. This has been very enlightening. Sorry for my typos. I came from big cities and did not think Little Village would be comparable, but you folks did great. I like that all aspects are viewed. This has been a great session, and I will be tuning in regularly. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, JC.
You're welcome.
Is there anything underneath that? Okay. Thank you.
All right, so we will do the executive session now. Pause this.
This conference will now be recorded.
Because he was talking that way, he's there.
Of course, you can't, because I whisper something, you can't hear me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll come back to regular session. We'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Not even had to go.
Good. Yeah.
Hey, lights are still on, right? It's still here.